The Italian Renaissance was a glorious rebirth of the ancient Greek and Roman civilizations. City-states encouraged cultural experimentation, which sparked humanists to study ancient Greek and Latin texts. With their studies, arts, architecture, philosophy, politics, and church was reinvented based upon ancient cultures. The city-states encouraged cultural experimentation in order to bring them out of the Dark Ages. The city-states wanted the citizens to focus on expressing more optimistic views of life. The city-states believed that by bringing back aspects from ancient Greece and Rome would help reinvent society. Humanists were a key aspect that helped create the Italian Renaissance. Humanists were scholars who studied ancient Greek and Latin texts. Humanists conducted intensive studies in order to decipher ancient texts. They even revived a form of Latin that had been dead for 1,000 years. The revival of these ancient works allowed for others to discover more about ancient civilizations. From the deciphered works of the humanists, authors such as Petrarch used newfound forms of rhetoric to persuade and inspire people towards their arguments. Leon Battista Alberti wrote a book which drew its principles on marriage from ancient Greek and Roman teachings. Authors used the revival of ancient literature and teachings to create a more prosperous future. The architecture of the Italian Renaissance was largely developed from ancient Greek and Roman architecture. Renaissance architecture started in Florence by Filippo Brunelleschi and soon spread to other Italian cities as well as other parts of Europe. The architecture had emphasis on geometry, proportion, and symmetry, which stems from ancient Roman architecture. Although the Italian Renaissance was clearly a Renaissance, there are some that would disagree. One of these arguments would be that the Renaissance was not really a Renaissance because the artists were doing art just for pay and not to be more creative. Even though the city-states created an environment for creative freedom, artists knew that they would get paid more if they adhered to new styles of art. However, if this were true, why would they spend so much effort just trying to get paid for their work? Another reason that it shouldn't be considered a Renaissance is because 200 years is a rather long time period to call a Renaissance. The whole 200-year period cannot all be a Renaissance, therefore it should not be called a Renaissance. However, if there were constant discoveries being made of the past that led to multiple rebirths of past life, then it should be called a Renaissance. The third reason why it should not be called a Renaissance is because the patriciates patronized famous works of art for their own personal gain. By patronizing the art of the artists, the patriciates felt that they could control what the standard of art was, also bringing them personal glory. Also, they figured they would be giving wealth in exchange for the criticisms. Yet, if they did this for personal gain, then why were the works that they criticized actually fine works of art that people today even agree are magnificent? Lastly, the architecture represents that of ancient cultures, but possibly architects thought this style was the most logical way to build. The style was not really reborn, just redone, because it was the most logical way to build. However, this style was brought back so it was indeed a rebirth. Does the Italian Renaissance deserve the title Renaissance? Or is it merely just a term that is overused by historians? I believe it deserves the title of Renaissance, but I'll let you decide for yourself.